Welcome back to Tech Elevate. Today we will go over what the interface of Power Platform looks like. And if you haven't done so, I would recommend that you get a free trial of Microsoft Office 365 where you have access to some of the key components of Power Platform. So right now I have a Microsoft Office 365 Business Edition, which includes a whole bunch of different features. So I have access to Copilot, Outlook, OneDrive, Word, and multiple types of apps here. So what I'm showing you now is the Power Apps application. So when you go into the Power Apps application, this is your workspace. And as you notice at the top, what does this look like? This is the AI prompt, right? So this is an also we talked about Microsoft Power Platform has this robust AI feature where you can actually generate tasking for the agents to go out and get data and do certain tasks for you. So this prompt right here says describe a problem that your users are having today. So we could put in here, we need a better app to create a timesheet application so that employees can enter their time sufficiently on a daily basis. And remember, your prompts has to be clear, concise, and descriptive. And let's see what it comes back with. Okay, so it's going to set up your environment for you. All right, let's see. And as you can see, there's a agent that just popped up. Requirements agent is generating user roles and requirements. Okay, so now you can see right now it's actually designing your actual problem description. So our business problem was we need a better app to create a timesheet application so that employees can enter their time sufficiently on a daily basis. Now it has generated for us a whole blueprint of how it's going to actually come up with the solution. The purpose of the plan, the user requirements, the stakeholders, the employee, the manager, all of these details were automatically generated by this agent. And I think it looks good because it also has a workflow associated with it and how to handle a status of the timesheet, whether it's going to be approved or rejected by the employee. And also has the ability to provide feedback on timesheets that were rejected so that employees have a chance to make corrections. And you also can view the reports on the employee time entries and perform auditing as necessary. So I'm going to say this looks good. Now we have another agent, which is our processing agent. It's going to generate our processes. So you see how we have different agents to perform different duties. And right now it created two processes, right? Time sheet entry and submission, and then we have a timesheet review and approval. Everything looks good. And let's say view process. So just give you more detail. Wow. So if you all are familiar with UML design, Unified Modeling Language, this is a way to lay out your business processes with different states, events, and actions. This is a diagram you use to portray your requirements so that when someone is reviewing it, they can clearly see who's doing what and what the different states and actions are for your particular process. So we're going to go back. That looks good. And we're going to say this looks good. Continue on. Now it's talking about a data model. And what does this tie into? Remember you talked about Dataverse? These are tables that will be used to store and provide information. So Dataverse is a key component for this particular step. And as we talked about, it is a database relationship model. So it's going to use tables with rows and columns. So these are the three different tables that we're going to have uh, working in our particular timesheet application. We have an employee table, a timesheet table, and a time entry table. And now it's going to generate those tables. So you actually had some time to go in and review and make some updates before it actually performs the creation of the tables. So it's actually asking you for feedback, and if you're okay with what it's providing for you, you can continue and move on to the next step. Now, as you can see, we have a solution agent, which is going to analyze your plan and generate the actual technology that you're going to be using for this timesheet application. Okay, so as you can see, this is the technology portion of our solution. It includes the apps, flows, and other objects that would be used to solve the particular business problem. So as you can see here, we have the employee timesheet app using the Canvas app. It's a mobile-friendly app for employees to log, edit, and review their daily work hours with contextual notes. And over here for the management timesheet portal, it's using a model-driven app. Um, this is where the managers can go in and review and improve your timesheets and provide feedback and analyze performance through embedded reports. We also have a timesheet submission reminder, and that's going to use Power Automate because that's where our workflows are going to automatically send reminders to our employees through email, Microsoft Outlook, and Teams to submit their timesheets. So remember, Power Automate is integrated with Outlook and Microsoft Teams. And then we also have our timesheet approval assistant, which is our Power Virtual Agents, right? So that's the AI agent embedded in the manager timesheet portal to flag any discrepancies or provide feedback on rejections and suggest corrections based on historical data. And we'll get more in detail as to what is a Canvas app and a model driven app later on in our lessons. The timesheet analytics report, this is the Power BI, right? This is where we perform all our analytics and reports, which are going to be embedded into the manager timesheet. They can actually monitor their attendance and any kind of performance analysis they need to use for this timesheet application. And as we go back into our processes, as you can see here, this timesheet entry and submission process includes our whole development workflow here. And if we want to take a further look into what our data verse table looks like, we can actually click here to the edit button, and this would take us to our data verse tables, which are our data models. And we'll wait for this to load. And you can actually see the tables that it created for us automatically. We have an employee table, a timesheet table, and a time entry table. And as you can see here, the relationships have already been established. We didn't have to tell it to do anything. It automatically interpreted what needed to be done to create these relationships. As you can see, the employee to timesheet table has a one-to-many relationship, and the timesheet to time entry table has a one-to-many relationship between the timesheet periods. And there's other rows and columns that it created for us, and you have the ability to go back and create more prompts if you think this needs to be modified or changed. So this is a very easy way to go in and make modifications and have the agents do it. The data agent will actually go in and make the updates for you. You can also remove tables and add existing tables to it. Okay. And we're going to say, you know what, this solution agent, you did a great job. You generate the technology session and it looks great. We're going to continue on. So now that we have our solution, we're looking at our Canvas app, and this is the UI, the user interface on how they're going to actually enter their timesheet data. This gives you an opportunity to design it and to perfect it the way you would like for it to look. Okay, so now we have a prompt. It says, welcome to Power App Studio. So you can start customizing your app or preview your app. To see a preview of this app, click here. We'll do that. So this is the welcome screen. So as you can see, we still have to build out our apps. So this is what the workspace looks like for you to add different UI components to your screen. So I might want to put a nice picture of here just for the employees. Something about time data. So let's say entry, data entry, or let's do typing, or let's do typing. Okay, so here's a typing. Someone's typing on the keyboard. We're going to insert that there. Okay. And then this one, we're going to say timesheets. We're going to say, let's find a picture of a clock. Use a stock image. Then for our time entries, well, we're just going to say, let's do file folder. Let me do a folder actually. No folders. Let's say report, something like that. Time entries over here. Okay. So we're just designing adding some images to our welcome screen to make it more pleasing. You can also add your company logo, and if someone has a profile picture, they can add it there. Okay, so we've got our pictures in, and this is our welcome screen. Now, let's see, Copilot here. We're going to say Copilot. Conditional formatting. Okay, we don't think we need to do anything to that. Okay, so I think it looks good for now, and we're going to say, okay, looks great. We can get out of here and go back to the next step. And as you can see, under the employee screen, we have a container which contains the ability to add new employees to our timesheet application. And on the timesheet screen, we have another container where all the timesheets are stored here. And then we also have the time entry screen, which is the data entry point where employees can enter their timesheets information. And we can preview that. So if you hit the preview button, and say, okay, now I want to do a new timesheet. Click on the new button. I'm going to say, okay, this is Power Apps Development Demo. Okay, so I'm going to say, oh yeah, I did that January 18th through the 23rd. January 18th. And I'll just say I worked 40 hours on that. Okay, and remote work only. And we're going to say January timesheet period, and then click on that. Okay, so as you can see, I have my timesheet entry here, and it's been stored. Okay, so this is just a brief interview on how to create your apps and get them stored, and actually when you're done with actually putting everything together, you can actually deploy your apps onto the server, and it's automatically in the cloud, and secure it properly. You know, there's also a security piece to it as well. So before you actually launch your application, you want to make sure you have all the permissions in place. People can't go in and approve their own timesheets. You might want only manager to do that. So there's some additional steps you have to take to finalize this whole deployment. But I hope that everyone had an idea of how Power Apps can generate solutions quickly, how how the developer, the app maker, is involved in every step that the agent creates, and it allows you to provide the agent with some feedback to go back and make changes and to fine tune your requirements and your design and your development. So this is an all-in-one cohesive type of development environment. And as you can see that the Power Apps, they utilize both model-driven and canvas-driven apps, and these are also available for mobile applications. So it's very flexible. The UI is very intuitive, and it's a great start. So that concludes today's lesson on a demonstration of how Power Apps works in a nutshell. So if you haven't done so already, I recommend that you get a trial version of Power Platform Microsoft Office 365 and around with some of the Power Apps features and components. And this is very important on the exam, that you know how things operate within Power Apps and what features to use and what each agent does. So start getting a feel for how to create your apps, model driven and canvas driven, and this will be useful for the exam. Okay, see you in the next video.